Well, welcome to First Financial. Glad you're here. My name is John Eliason. Today we're talking about how I made over $200,000 setting up a system that generates me over $20,000 a month in residual evergreen income, which is really neat because when you make that much residual income, it gives you the opportunity to have choices in life. You know, so many of us grind away through the day working 90 hours a week and don't have time to enjoy it. You know, what's that saying? Life isn't a destination, it's a journey. Life is a journey, not a destination. This gives you a real opportunity to have a whole lot more pleasant journey because it allows you to either, when you've got that much money coming in, you can either focus on building more, or you can focus time away, you can travel, you can spend time with your kids, or you can do a combination of both. It's your choice. So I'm going to give you the big picture framework, including this story about how I did it, and then I'm going to show you a system. I'm going to break it down to show you how to do it. So I'll talk about the couple of things that you need to do to make it happen and how it worked for me. If you're going to make residual income, you got to be in an industry where there's residual income to be made. And residual income today is really rare. There's only a few industries where you can find it. The industry we found to be able to make residual income is the merchant services business, the Visa MasterCard business. And really today there's only a few different industries that you can even make residual income in. For example, you know, look at the lights here or where you are. You came in, you flipped on the light, the meter starts running, you pay the utility company. Every time you use the product or the service, somebody's making money. And the Visa MasterCard business is like that too. You know, pretend you're a merchant. Our clients are merchants. So every time somebody comes in and swipes the card through their terminal, they pay a little fee to turn that plastic transaction into cash. There's a lot that goes on to get money from a card swipe into a terminal. You dial in. There's all kinds of communication between banks. There's money moving around. The fee that they pay is really low for the service that they get. And it's just like if you're going over to Europe and trading dollars for euros. There's a little conversion fee. Same thing here. So this is and the industry's big, and you can get business right away if you have the right know-how. You can tumble out and get it right now. So in this country, there's 29 million businesses. 23 don't accept cards, or 22 million don't accept cards. 7 million do. There's 750,000 new businesses that start every month or every year. So there's a lot of business. You just have to figure out how to extract it out. So when I was introduced to this industry, it was in an ad that looked just like this. It said bank card, $100,000 a year, and I saw that and went, hey, 100 grand a year. And bank card, I think 100 grand sounds really good. And bank card, hey, that's something I know about. I know about that merchant services bank card business because before this, I had done entrepreneurial things, I did different jobs, sales jobs. And in one of the things that I did, I accepted cards. And 50% of my business came in through plastic. It was a huge deal. And today, businesses, it's the same then as it was today, even bigger today, because we have more forms of plastic. Anyway, I knew from a merchant's perspective what a big deal it was. And I thought, okay, and it's interesting because I can talk to businesses and they've all got things cooking, so there's interesting targets. I understand it, it's exciting, and I can make 100 grand. Sign me up. So I did. I went down and I did their training, and it's funny because the way that they did their training then is how they do training today. It's the old world kind of thing. And when you find, if I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse, but if you do things the way that they used to train or the old-fashioned ways that they still use today, it's not going to be very effective. And here's my example. They basically taught us to cold call. And you know, a lot of people cold call today, and back then it wasn't super fun, and today it's just horrible and not effective. It's the cold calling is really done the old-fashioned or the traditional way is don't pass go, don't collect $200 just to get to low-level plateau, grindy, horrible life. But anyway, but they had this cute little thing called Flyer Friday where they had a flyer and it said slash cost, you know, reduce fees, make things cheaper basically. And they said, hey, just put your name on this. Go down to the copy shop on Thursday night, make 100 copies, and on Friday, go door to door and trade these flyers for business owners and get their card and then follow them up. And then when you go to do your sales presentation, what you want to do, and this is classic training too, isn't it? You have a little bit of rapport, and then you do your presentation. You've really practiced well, and then you overcome objections, and then you close. Well, Okay, so if you're a few flies in that ointment. One, the cold calling is no fun. You know, how many times, if you've ever done that, you show up and there's a sign that says we shoot every fourth salesman and the third one just left. It's like, okay, do I go in here? You know how it's you know, in the numbers that they give you in sales, they go, all right, if you talk to 100 people, 90 are going to want to see you die a horrible car accident right outside their door. And out of 10, you know, basically you're going to have a shot at 8 of them, and you're going to sell 2. Well, in what we were doing, when I sold, each one was worth $450. $450. So that's $900 a week, or at 50 weeks, that's what, $45,000. All right. So a few problems here. A few problems here. One is that when you do 2 accounts a week, by the way, doing it this way, or in the office where I was, 2 accounts is, I mean, you're at the top of the heap. You're always going to be number 1, 2, or 3 in that part of the world. I mean, ranked in the office. I was always in the top 10%. In the top 10%, making $45,000, cold calling my life away. And I didn't see any way out of it. And the way that they taught sales is this way that, you know, it's still how we're taught today. But I found a couple refinements in this, and I'll show you. But so I thought, all right, so something's got to change here. Something has to change, because I hate this. And I'm not making enough money, not what they told me I'd make. And the way that they do their sales presentation is this old-fashioned stuff. So I didn't quite know what I had to shift, but I knew I had to shift something. And the part that I shifted was basically in the sales presentation part of things. I thought, all right, this I didn't feel super skilled with my sales presentation. So when I went in there, what happened was, by accident, I found a better way to sell. And it was just a lot more conversation. Instead of going in and doing all this technical stuff in sales, I went in and created a friend. I asked them a lot of questions about their business, because I was interested in how this business worked. These people were interesting. They had stories. And the best question I ever found to ask anybody in business is this, and feel free to use it, is, how'd you get into this business? Simple question, but nobody ever asks it. I found to ask it, and pretty soon you're talking for half an hour, they're your friend, and they're telling you all the magic about their business, and they're inspired, and it's this almost like taking care of business is secondary. So I figured that out, and life became a little bit easier, because I'd get more, you know, I could get referrals, and I go, hey, you know what, who do you know that give me a listen? And they go, oh, you should talk to my brother, he's going to start a business too, or whatever. So that part of life got a little bit better. I was still making the same amount of money, give or take. You know, maybe I would, instead of doing 8, I would do 10. And on months that I was doing 10, I was absolutely a rock star in our office, and I would be number 1 without a doubt in our office doing that. But still, even at 10, okay, so I'm making, you know, maybe $10,000 more a year if I had months like that. But I still, the way that we were doing business, the prospecting part was absolutely horrible, and I couldn't see how this was ever going to work. How could I, here's something that I actually enjoyed, finally, out of all the things that I've ever done, something that I enjoyed, it was intriguing, I could make some money, but it's like, what, something had to change. I didn't know what it was, but I had to change. And it was an interesting shift, and I'll show you that now. So it becomes that age-old question about prospecting, doesn't it? Because everybody goes, man, if I just didn't have to prospect, if I could spend more time in front of people where I could engage and make more sales, that would be the deal. You know, exactly. So I asked myself at the time, I go, all right, how do I double my income, work no more than I'm doing now, and have a good time doing it? I went, all right, well, what am I doing now? And I look and I'm going, all right, I'm doing this cold calling business, which will lead you to drinking way too early in the morning. Not much fun. And I go, okay, well, but if I ask for referrals, those are more fun. And I was asking, I looked and I thought, okay, well, I'm probably asking for referrals about 20% of the time. So I thought, okay, John, maybe you should ask for referrals all the time. If you do, then you're going to increase your referrals by 5 times, and those are easy sales, and if you ask those for referrals, then it just gets life is much better. And so I could work more in referral business if I just asked for them. So I installed that. You find that, you know, stopping and asking yourself simple little questions like that ends up being real valuable. So I increased the number of referrals by about 3 or 4 times. Because it didn't pan out that I asked for them all the time. But I did amp that up, and all the referrals I asked for referrals. So it became a little bit better. And by the way, at this time I was with company number 4. Company number 4. Remember that first company that it was bank card $100,000 a year? I kept asking them, I go, hey, where's that $100,000 a year person? Because I'm one of your top performers here. I'm out there working my butt off and struggling. I'd love for you to parade this person by and let them tell me how to go out and make 100 grand doing this. Yeah, it never happened. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to a different company that might be more resourceful. Well, company number 2 was the same. Company number 3 had the same story. Company number 4 was a company that I had used long ago for credit card processing. And anyway, so that's where I was at this point. One of the companies along the way said, hey, we've got a lead generation program. And you see those out there today. And the problem with lead generation programs is that you are their slave. You are their puppet. I talked to a woman the other day who joined our company from California, and she had brought on about 600 accounts of her own, or herself, and then they elevated her to manager, and she oversaw bringing on another 2,500, something like that. And we penciled it out. If she was making residual on those, if she had figured out the prospecting part and had written those herself, she'd be making something like $35,000 a month in residual income. That's over 400 grand. As it was, I mean, she made good money up front. She sold those leads. They paid her something like $80,000 to $120,000, depending on, and then $1,500 a month in residuals. And she was beat. She was worn out. She was tired. She was looking for something different. Now, at least, you know, she can't redo what she's done, but at least she can get on a better track. Leads, if you take somebody else, enough said about that. I didn't have any interest in that. Advertising, I thought, okay, how do I get my phone to ring? If I can just sit here at my home office, where I was at the time, and if I could just get my phone to ring, I can take care of these on the phone. If I need to run out and see them for that, that's fine. So how do I do advertising? And so I figured it out. I ended up getting 2 a week, or about 8 a month off advertising, and I didn't have to cold call anymore. It was great. The thing about advertising is that I didn't figure it out right off the bat. I mean, it took a little while to figure out what to say, what the advertising looked like, and it's expensive to figure advertising out because the advertisers want your money up front whether your advertising works or not. So that was a bit of a trick. The other part about advertising is that once your competitors see what you're doing, they will copy exactly. They don't have any learning curve. They'll just copy exactly, go to the same market, and now you get diluted out. And that's no fun. And your competition, even if they don't hang around for a while, they still come in and out of your market all the time. So it's like, okay, I didn't want it, that got diluted. I didn't want to go back to cold calling. I still working referrals of referrals of referrals, so that was good. So I'm doing a combination of cold calling, referrals, and advertising now. And I go, okay, well, hey, what about those, I forgot to put this in here, networking groups. Networking groups, that's what that says. Networking groups. So I went to a couple meetings, and some people like them. I didn't. I found that I was commiserating with a bunch of other people who were having the same problems I did, and we were just exchanging leads, and it's like, yeah, I don't see how this is ever going to set me free. It's like Jim Collins has a book called Good to Great, and it says good is the enemy of great. And what I found in these networking groups is people who just kind of, this wasn't panning out, so it's like, well, the worst, at least I'm not getting abused out here in the world. At least it's a little safer in here, and I can exchange leads, and I can level off at this low-level plateau, and at least I can survive. It's like, man, I want to thrive. I don't want to survive. So I didn't particularly care for networking groups. Warm market was interesting. And warm market, what I found is that we're taught wrong. Warm market, I had no idea because I never worked it right, and I figured out how to crack it. And it started to change my world. So let's talk about warm market. Warm market's interesting because I never knew how to work it right. And I'd been in other things to go, hey, go work in warm market, work in warm market. And I saw how they taught to do it. And it never made any sense, because in your warm market, here's how it works. You've got about 150 people that are tight, like that you can invite to a wedding or funeral. In what we do, there are about 10 to 15 of those who are going to be good prospects for credit card processing. Now, when you go to those 10, what's going to happen is that you're going to, out of these 10 to 15, you're going to write 1 to 2 right away, just by virtue of a relationship. They accept cards, we can get them something better. Bingo, presto, it's going to go. There's going to be another 3 to 4, or numbers 3 and 4, that are going to come on shortly thereafter, and probably numbers 5 and 6 a little while later. So, but what happens is, how we're taught to work a warm market is that's it, and then we move on. And what they don't teach us how to do is ask for referrals in that either. So what I found is, like, wait a second. When somebody does, from my warm market, would send me a referral, as they would from time to time, like my mom or dad or my sisters, my grandpa, they go, hey, you know what, I know somebody who you should go talk to. Or I was just talking to somebody and I told them this is what you do, and they said, you know, but these warm market leads would come to me. I wouldn't go to them, because I never really understood how to work it right. But now I understood how to work it. It's like, wait a second, if I call the people in my warm market who are prospects, I can get business right away. And if I ask them for referrals, like I was, then I could get more business out of this warm market. But really, where the warm markets, and that's where the warm market's value is, it's not necessarily these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because you can't make a career out of that, you can't make a business out of it, but you can make it out of their referrals, and their referrals. For example, if of these 150 people in your warm market, 10 are prospects, and you're going to get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clients out of it right away, all of these 10 people that are prospects, they also have 10 prospects for you in their warm market. So are they all 10 of these people that are prospects going to give you 10 referrals? No. But you know what? Let's say that they give you 3. And now all of a sudden you've got 30 targets. You've got 10 of your own, 30 that come from your warm markets, your prospects' referrals. Now you've got 40 people to call all of a sudden. And then, of course, whatever you get from their referrals. I mean, it gets big very, very fast. And what happens is you can end up 4 generations away in a gold mine in one day, when you could have never gotten to the end of the 4th tier or generation, or 3rd, or probably even 2nd, with all of the advertising money in all the world. You know, and even if you could connect with them 4 generations away, they wouldn't know you as a referral. They would know you as advertising and cold. It is hugely different. You can get to the gold mine quick versus almost never get there. It's like the magic back door inside track to getting massive amounts of business. The other part of it is even bigger. Remember, we have 150 in our network, and 10 of them are prospects. Well, what about these other 140 people? Like, for example, my mom, my dad, my sisters, everybody else in my network who are not prospects, people who are not targets for what it is I sell. Do they have 10 prospects for me in their network? They do. Everybody's going to have 10. It's just how it works. Now, am I going to get 140 referrals out of that? No. But you know what? What if I got 100 or 1,400? No. But what if I got 140? So now I've got 140 on just my warm markets prospect referrals, plus I've got 40 of my own. I've got 180 prospects right off the bat that I can go after and start building this massive referral network. And when I started working that, it was like, why didn't somebody ever tell me this before? I don't have to pay for advertising. It's not this crappy lead generation. I'm sitting at home talking on the phone going, hey, da-da-da, you're shooting the breeze. And then people would call me or I'd call them. And it was a mix of good stuff. And I'm all of a sudden going, wait a second. I might be able to get free. So I started building a system because I've got all these people. I've got to systemize this thing so that I can keep everybody straight and talk to the best targets, that brings the best targets up to the top all the time, and how do I stay in contact? And so I developed a system. What also happened in there as I started making connections in this warm network that led to other things. And it was more like, it was like networking, but not networking groups. It wasn't networking groups, and I ended up calling it connecting. It's like connecting the dots. And ultimately, by the way, I'll put the cart ahead of the horse. We have a software called Connect, and it's wonderful. You're going to want to check it out. But anyway, so I called it connecting because once I started connecting all these dots, in some of the dots, they weren't just merchants that I could get as a client. Some of them went, wait a second, you know what? You should actually talk to this group of people that I'm in, like an association. And I went, wait a second, okay. So if I can connect with the head of an association that has members or customers, whatever you want to call them, inside, loads of them, hundreds, thousands of them, if I can get this person to say, yeah, come on in, because I like what you have to say, you're a benefit to my group. If I can crack those, Katie bar the door. And so I started targeting those, and it became like Wild West days. And I ended up writing 21 accounts a month, which I'd never heard of anybody even writing anywhere near there. And let me show you the money. So let's run the numbers. So I was writing, on the average, 21 accounts. And on the average, I would make $450 per account. And I think if you do the math, that's $9,450 that I was making per month. Pretty sweet. And especially sweet when you multiply that by 12 months, because you come up with the magical $113,400 a year. Finally, it's like years later, I mean, this was years later, this is company 4, years later, finally, after answering the ad that said $100,000 a year bank card years ago, finally I'd figured out how to crack this thing and make over $100,000 a year. Now, one of the reasons, and that was reason enough for joy, but what was really cool is that what happened at this time, one of the reasons I went to this company for was residual income. Before that, nobody ever made it. All of a sudden, the banks are loosening up and sharing in the wealth. And we started making $6.95 per month per account. Now, that might not seem much, especially when you're making $113,000. Who cares? Well, here's why. 21 accounts times $6.95. I was giving myself, let's do math. Let's do $7 because it's just easier math. $147. So I added $147 a month to my income. And again, that might not seem much, but let's extend that out 12 months. At the end of the year, I'm still making this up front, $9,450 always. As long as I write 21 accounts and I average $450, I'm always going to make $9,450. Now, if I want to go on vacation or I get sick or whatever, or if I want to take 2 months off, I make $0. But this little gem still keeps coming in. At the end of the first year, I'm at plus, $1,764 per month at the end of the year. Now, at the end of my second year, I've got, again, $9,450, but now I've got $3,528 a month coming in. This is getting to be a bigger deal. Plus 1,764. At the end of the third year, then I've got 5,292. This money's coming in. It's like, sweet. That's what, you get calculators and you start running it out. And this is working. And I've got a couple of other guys on the team and they're having success. Things are looking good. Except that my relationship with Company 4 was unraveling and really fast. It was one of these balances of, sweet, I got this figured out. B, this is working. C, this company that I'm working with, I swear, is crazy. It's the CEO, his wife, and the daughter. It's not a big company. And so I'm producing at least at least 20% of the business, if not 25. And I don't know if that made them a little anxious toward me, or if I was too big for my britches, or whatever the case was. But I remember being at a function, and I was talking, the CEO and his wife were there, and the CEO was turned around. I think we were standing someplace, he was getting at a bar or something at the bar of this function. And she was always pretty open and candid with me. And I said, I want to make $20,000 a month with your company, residual income. And she swallowed her drink, and it's interesting how you remember how things sound at different times. But I remember the ice coming to a slow roll in her glass as she was saying, good luck with that, or something to that effect, or I don't know how that's ever going to work. And the look that her husband, the CEO, said snapped around like an owl, and the look that he gave her was not a look I'd want to get. And it was interesting. Another thing that she had told me along the way, I don't know why she shared all this stuff with me, but she said, the CEO, his name, she said that his hobby is to give people ulcers. And I thought, man, what kind of outfit am I connected with now? And the daughter was his national sales manager, director, whatever they called her. And I don't know why, but you'd think that with the person that won all their awards, because somebody told me along the way, they go, you know what, we actually have all the awards printed with your name on them because we know you're going to win them anyway. I mean, that's cool and everything, but awards are nice, and I appreciated that, but this is what I was really after. But she did not like me, apparently. I mean, she would take every opportunity, she and the dad, to she would send faxes saying, sell, 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 in all capital letters, exclamation marks, and I'm going, you know what? All I want is to do this. I want to figure out how to make $20,000 a month in residual income, because that's really what I want to do. And because I want these freedom, I want this different sort of life. But boy, your dad's doing a good job of giving me an ulcer, or me getting one because of this scenario. And it's one of those things, you're enraptured, you're so excited because this works. On the other side, it's never going to work out. It is never going to work out, because this relationship can't last. It's like, man, time to retool. And as much as it pained me, I thought, I gotta go. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And I thought, you know what? I need to start my own company. I need to start my own company where all these things that I found out for prospecting, to go to targets and be able to make money right away, to be able to build systems and go into those warm markets and those other sorts of business networks, and to show people that, and to roll it out, and to be able to provide the same kind of things that I've been looking for others. And so that's what I did. And so I formed First Financial and started bringing other people on. Chuck Fowler, who you'll meet, who now is the Vice President of Sales, came on a long, long time ago, and he beat my numbers. He came on and did 35. It's crazy. And so now it's so interesting. So people come on and they've gotten free, and other people are coming on, and it's fun to see that the things that you figured out over time, now other people are being able to use. And we created that software I mentioned called Connect, because we had to find a solution to handle all this the business that we were doing, or all the connections that we were making, because other software just didn't match our methods. So we thought, we'll have our own done, and now people are using that. And then now I've written a book called Rewire. Rewire is basically, you got to do things a little bit different than traditionally. You got to retool, you got to rewire, so that you can have the success you're looking for. And so anyway, it's so interesting. And now too, residual income banks are sharing a lot more today. So there's a lot more residual income. So this multiplies a lot faster. Now when people come on, we go, all right, what is it that you want to accomplish? You know what? I'm just going to show you how we roll it out. And if this sounds like something that if you want us to show you how to do this, then join our team. But I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So when new people come to our team, the first thing we ask them is, what do you want to achieve? What are you here to do? And part of that is always some sort of dollar figure. I want to achieve X amount of dollars. And mine was $20,000. So if somebody asked me, and I said $20,000, then I go, okay, well, let's develop a model to be able to get there. How long do you want it to take? And I go, well, we're talking $20,000 a month in residual income. That's money coming in pretty much whether I work or not. and most people don't make $20,000 a month ever even in life. Well, I'll give it 10, you know what, 7 years. Okay, so 7 years. Now let's start doing the math. And the first part of the math that is really better today than it's ever been is, remember when with Company 4, I was so excited about the residual income at $6.95. Well, it's better today. Today, the average is $32 a month. Sweet, and it ranges based on the size of the merchant. But let's start doing the math. So that's $20,000 divided by 32. That means I need to write 625 accounts to make $20,000. Now, over the course of 7 years, let's divide it by 7. That's 89 accounts a year, and divided by 12, that is 7.44 accounts a month. You know, let's make it 8. Let's shoot for 8 just to make sure we get it. Now, I need to throw in a legal disclaimer here, you know, because that's the world in which we live. I don't know what your experience will be. I can't guarantee you a thing. I just don't know anything about you or your situation. But I do know that on our team, all over America, we've got people writing all sorts of business, and some write less and some write more. You know what I did when I was jamming on it? I wrote 21 accounts a month. And now that's pretty aggressive, and it would have taken me a lot less than 7 years to do it. Let's run the math. Because how did I write $20,000 or make $20,000 a month? Here's how. $20,000 a month divided by 32 is, of course, $625. Divided by 21 accounts a month equals 30 months divided by 12 months a year. So that's really about 2.5 years. At a constant pace of 21 accounts, I can do this in about 2.5 years. Now, let's throw real life into it, because real life is important. I don't work 12 months out of the year. I'm going to work more like 10 months out of the year, and I'm going to lose a couple months to things like merchants dying. They go out of business. They move out of they go away. You know, the competition woos them. So I could probably, instead of getting 12 months worth of real traction every year, I'll get about 8. So I'd have to add about a third onto this, so maybe like 8-9 months. So if you add 8-9 months, it's more like 3.25 years. Still, that's pretty aggressive. So let's say you start, and whatever your plan is, now we want to make it real. One of the first things we do is to go, all right, let's help you make money right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to target merchants that you can go to right now and write right now. And we're going to help you do that with our offer and with the team. What you're going to do is go out, and you're going to find that the competition out there has about one pitch: cheap. We're cheap, 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 cheap. You know, that doesn't necessarily help a merchant. Maybe they need to expand, or maybe just the way that they're doing things is odd, or they need to take cards in a different way. So what we do is we act more like a consultant. You just make a whole lot more money that way. You get more referrals that way. It's just better. And so what we do is we have a merchant tune-up. And it's designed in such a way we ask the questions just like they are on the sheet. And one of them is that old throwback: how'd you get into this business? And then of course it lights them up, and they tell you all their hot buttons, and so they're easier to land. And then we do things like, well, what kind of equipment do you have, or software, what kind of volume, all these things. We get some information, and then we go, great, if we can get you something better than you've got now, can we do business? And then so now our job is to simply get something better than they have now. And so with that information, you'll send it into the team. The team will crunch the numbers, and they'll get right back to you with an A-B choice. And we come up with 2 choices, A or B. So now when we go back to the merchant, we go, instead of saying, here, let's go with this, and they go, maybe, maybe not. No, we would rather have a lot more probability of getting the account, and the way to do that is to come back with 2. Hey, Mr. Merchant, which do you think is going to work better for your business, this one or this one? Now they're going, well, yeah, I think this one. Sweet. You find when you do things like that, your sales close ratios go up, your income goes up. It's just a much better way to go about it. Now, the other thing that you want to start using is a system. You want to use a system to get bigger. Remember when I talked about that earlier? And we're going to show you how to use Connect and how to put your contacts in it. And we're going to do training. We have FFUSA University, which is online, all kinds of recorded things. We also have a live at least once a week, and it's led by somebody like me or Chuck Fowler or somebody else who's been where you are. And so and it's interactive. We want to hear what you're experiencing because we can help you do what we call shift. Shifting means either in your targets, in what you say, in your system, and in all those things you go, been there, understand. Let's do it like this. Or the other thing, I shouldn't say or, and other things that we do is when you shift and let's say you're going to one of these bigger, remember I talked about shifting to associations and groups that I could get in and get all kinds of business. We have the referrals, the references, the agreements. We know what to say. We have the tracking, all these things that these people want and need. We'll help you close and land that business, and we're happy to do it. We'll help you close and land your first and your second and your 12th and your 30th account. We want you to use the team and lean on the team and help them help you. We want you to achieve all these things, and we want you to grow. We want you to get bigger. We want you to achieve your residual goals. So honestly, we want you to achieve so you tell the world that we're great so we get more great people coming to our team. We want you to tell the world about it. And if you want us to help you do something like this, we want to talk to you. We don't charge you any money, but we can't take everybody. So your first step, if you'd like us to help you roll something like this out, is just contact us. And if it makes sense, then we start. We start right away and we get into it. And we'd love to meet you in person. That's one of the things that it's exciting when people come and meet us. But so I look forward, if this sounds like something that you want to do, look forward to talking with you, look forward to meeting with you. Thank you.